coming straight from the cockpit. It's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! All right, back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. And I know I say this is always a special one, but this really is actually a special one. I've got two voices that a lot of you are going to recognize pretty quickly. And for the first time, especially considering the three of us, it's going to be pretty difficult for us not to talk about ourselves, but we're not here to talk about us. We're actually here to talk about a legend.
Rob Stanley.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Rob Stanley. But before we talk about Rob, who the fuck are you guys? And what are we here for?
Hi, I'm Mark. Yeah. I'm Mark Norman.
Mr. Norman, back.
Yes, indeed.
Back again.
It's good to be here.
I think you were like my second interview, second or third interview.
I had fun doing that.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be back here again.
I still get a lot of compliments about that. And young William, not as young as he used to be.
Responsible now.
Right? A grown-up.
I used to be, mate. Yeah, I'm happy to be back as well. Lajeunesse. All the same things I said about myself from not that long ago are still true for anybody who might have heard. So, yeah, really pleased to be here talking about Rob Stanley today.
Yeah. So for those that are listening in, this episode is basically for us to sit around and talk shit and have fun speaking about the one and only Mr. Rob Stanley, who left us not all that long ago, but left an indelible mark. And I don't know about you guys, but I've certainly never met anybody like Rob Stanley before.
There's truth in that.
Yeah. So even if, for those that are listening, even if you didn't know Rob Stanley, you will still love these stories, and maybe you've got your own version of a Stanley out there, and you will enjoy hearing these for sure.
Oh, I reckon. Dear me.
So,
actually, do you know what? He's not gone, mate. He's not gone.
No?
Not as long as I'm alive.
Right?
Yeah. I really, truly mean
Stanley.
that.
Yeah, Stanley's never created or lost, just changes forms. You know what I mean? Like
he's the epitome of Einstein's energy theory. It doesn't die; it just changes.
That's it.
Exactly.
Well, all right. So we're in a bunch of different locations, but we're gonna try and have some real good fun with Stanleyisms and Stanley stories and stuff. We've got a little bit of a lag going on the connection with Will, who is currently in France on his farm, right?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. So I want to start with you. I know I asked both you guys to try and think up some of your top Stanley stories. So Will, why don't we start with you? What's just an endearing, undying memory for you of Mr. Stanley?
Man, Rob Stanley, I'm actually really happy to be here. I'm glad you asked me to do this. I think it's nice to have the three of us do it, because we all had kind of first acquaintances with Rob over such different periods, and so our kind of first interactions with him came, probably 10, 15 years apart between the three of us. And so it's really nice. Yeah. So it's really nice to have that different individual look at what who and what Rob was to each of us. And I'm really, really proud. Dude, this is going to be so hard for me to do this without getting choked up.
For sure.
Not already. You know what I mean? But there's a ton of funny Stanley stories. I was actually thinking this show would be hilarious to do as a call-in show. You know what I mean? Like set up a date, everybody call, because everybody has priceless Stanley stories. And I have several as well, but I wanted to talk about my first meeting of Stanley first.
Yeah, please.
He was my AFF instructor, which is really, really special. A lot of people knew him already, were professional, were already working in the sport, or already had some jumps. He did I did my stuff at Cross Keys, so it was like one of those 3 tandem and then AFF system.
Right.
So he did my second tandem. He did all the AFF jumps, and right the way, through starting teaching me how to base jump the next year. So he was kind of like from nearly day one in skydiving, he was right there, sort of a mix between guiding, pushing, and encouraging me as I went, as I discovered the sport, I think in a similar way that he did, which was kind of on on my own. And
Sure.
that was really, really special. And I feel like sharing, like having had him as my AFF instructor, it feels even more precious now that he's gone.
Sure.
And I was thinking about it.
It's kind of
Go
funny
ahead.
because for anybody that knew Stanley like I did on a much more social basis and working with him, yes, but never, with any type of an instructor-student relationship, I know the crazy Stanley more than I know the professional, awesome AFF instructor. So when you say Rob Stanley was your AFF instructor, you have to giggle and go, holy shit.
I mean,
You learn the link.
I just...
I was going to say you learn the lingo fast.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Stanley.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like when he came out, it was like briefing my landing pattern or something, so fancy. He's like, okay, this is draw your little picture of your landing pattern or whatever. And then he's like, and just in case you want to know, like Philly approach, he started telling me about like the ways that planes land on Philly approach and like the constellations that we would see later in the evening, like three jumps. I forgot which way the fucking windsock is blowing. And he's telling me about like Philly approach and like, where Cassiopeia will be later.
Oh man.
He loved the stars.
Yeah.
He was such a unique guy, but it's kind of funny to hear, especially as a former student of his, how he was trying to impart to you basic information through Stanley's eyes. That's wow.
I loved it. He had.
You're breaking up just a little bit there.
Thing
Try that
in
again.
him. Damn it. Oh, sorry. I think he had
That's
this
okay.
thing in him that was so rare and so special, and that was like, if you were the kind of person that was going to love Stanley, which I think most people were,
Sure.
whatever he said, as soon as he opened up his mouth and started talking to you, you almost were kind of speechless, and you're like, wow, like.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody that knew him for any length of time automatically built up a bit of a Stanley filter, and you just started to automatically filter out the stuff that didn't pertain to the information you wanted, and then you just gather that information in between the Meep Meeps and the constellations and the Philly approach landing corridor stuff.
And it was all mixed together so fast. So like in one paragraph of Stanley speak, which was so fast, you would get like a one-liner joke. Maybe he'd be like making fun of you. Maybe he'd also tell you some really important information that you might need for the next load. And he said something totally irrelevant.
Yeah, absolutely. All in one. And it was at least the way it always seemed to me was his mouth didn't work nearly as fast as his brain.
Oh, for sure.
So he would just trip his mouth up because his brain was trying to shove everything out as quickly as it possibly could. Oh, so
exactly.
Norman, how about you? How did you meet Stanley?
I met Stanley when the first day I rocked up at Cross Keys. This plane had crashed into the trees. The operation was shut down.
So day one with Stanley was a plane crash.
Stanley was meeping out the back, meh. I've been in plane crashes. Meh.
Oh my God. Now what year would this have been? This would have been
98.
Oh my goodness.
And it grew into a thing with whenever Stanley would get on the aeroplane, everyone would start applauding, especially when we're having a busy day, or the conditions were kind of a little bit sketchy.
Right.
He'll be like, the hands clapping, ladies and gentlemen, Rob Stanley. The students would be like, what? I mean, well, he's been in, 2-3 plane crashes,
That's
so
three,
the
I
chances of a fourth are pretty slim.
Right. Pretty safe there. So which one of you guys knows, how did Stanley get his start in skydiving? Do you guys know?
In Canada.
In Canada?
Yeah. Young.
Well, his whole family was in aviation in one degree or another, yeah? I mean, how many brothers?
2.
2 brothers.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
One passed away young.
Yeah.
And then his older brother was skydiving. I think his older brother probably introduced him into it.
Okay.
Dear God, I can't even remember his older brother.
Norman, Stanley one time told me the thing I know about the earliest about him starting skydiving. I know that he started when he was 16. And
Okay.
yeah, amazing. amazing, right?
Yeah.
Given that he went till how old was he when he died? I don't know, but he started with 16. I remember him telling me a story about not being really able to afford it and like sleeping wrapped up in a canopy. That's like the earliest, the earliest Stanley.
He's so. It almost sounds like
stories I ever heard. And that was from him, from the horse's mouth. You know?
His beginnings seem to parallel another interesting character we all know, which is Mr. Facey.
Yeah.
Oh, right, Royston Facey.
Yeah, you know, starting out as low as you can go and busting your ass to get to the top too. I mean, wow, that's very cool. Well, and so Stanley he ended up in the States, but he was illegal in the States for how many years?
Oh, the whole time. Still, to this day,
still
Stanley.
Illegal. Yeah. Still illegal.
Even though he's dead, he's still illegal in the States, bro.
Oh my God. I suppose we actually haven't even told anybody that's listening. This might be a rather harsh way to find out that Rob Stanley's no longer with us. For anybody that's tuning in going, hey, I wonder what Stanley's been up to. He's dead.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, he's not with us anymore, which is fucking amazing because I, like everybody else that knew Stanley, just assumed he was going to live forever. I figured he was going to outlive Betty White.
Oh, he had 9 lives, man.
Right?
And used them all.
Fucking used 18 of them.
Yeah.
For Christ's sakes.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, right. Several bars, too. That's right. Yeah, you know, I mean, I did think he was going to live forever, but I also, you know, I don't know. There were some moments with Rob when he would I remember him one time off the cuff years ago saying to me, well, like, I didn't really make any plan for like a retirement because I didn't think I would live long, you know? And it's like funny little Stanleys, but there's a dark side in there too, you know? So on the one hand, I thought he was going to live forever. On the other hand, I don't know, you know? I don't know.
Well, definitely the way he lived was day to day go for broke. I mean, I don't think I ever saw Stanley do anything by half measures.
No.
Ever.
Never.
I mean, what was the latest near death experience that was in? Was it in Thailand?
Yep.
What the fuck happened in Thailand? Because I've only heard bits and pieces of that.
So
story.
he's, you know, they're doing base jumps off this thing, and he thinks to himself, this is what he told me after the fact. He thinks to himself, you know what, I'm going to throw a flip off this. Yeah, even though it was no way high enough for it. And he did. And he spanked into the wall a whole bunch of times.
Oh, no.
And then knocked the piss out of himself on the ground. Yeah, he was in a bad way.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing he was in the hospital and might not be able to walk. And then next thing I know, I'm hearing he caught the flight that he originally booked out of there.
Yeah. No, he was in hospital.
I know.
Yeah. He had left my place. He'd been living with me, and he'd left my place, and off he went over there. So he did. So I was staying in touch with him, and I'd lost contact with him. I'm not what the fuck's going on with Stanley on all the social media things I could find. So it turns out he's had this accident. He's got no insurance. He's got no way of paying for any of the medical assistance that he's had. So I put a big shout out on Facebook and various other things, and a bunch of people, whoever you are, thank God. You're good people out there. Donated enough money. And Rob Branch, I think it was Branchy. Branchy went out. He was in that location, working, flying otters, I think.
Probably the Maldives.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And he flew over there, and he got him out of there and took him home.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that was just the most recent one of fucking many.
Fucking nutter.
Oh, yeah. One of my longest impressions of Stanley, and it was 2004, and I think I'd been at Cross Keys maybe 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, and there was a gathering at Ketchup House. And for any of you that haven't spent any time at Cross Keys, the people there were really creative. There was a house at the top of the road called Top House, and then there was a place called Ketchup House because it was painted red. So we were all hanging out on the back deck of Ketchup House, which is where Stanley lived, and a bunch of jumpers lived, and everybody's sitting, drinking beer, sipping wine. There might have been a joint getting passed around here and there, and Stanley is sitting in a lawn chair with 2 cardboard boxes and a little metal contraption in his hand that I didn't even know what these were, but it turned out to be a cracker for little nitrous canisters. And mid-conversation, he would crack this thing and breathe in the nitrous and then just just disappear for 30 seconds and then snap out of it right back into the conversation where he was.
And then he'd ask you to talk to him about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Say something about Star Wars. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, and I'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about, mate? No, do it. Come on, say something to me about Star Wars. And you start talking some Star Wars gibberish, and he would fucking lose his mind.
And he would do it all night long.
Wow.
It was fucking amazing. And I remember sitting watching this going, this is probably the most incredible thing I think I've ever seen. You know, after 2 hits off a balloon, I'm done. And he went through an entire fucking box of those things.
This stuff wigs me out.
Oh my God. I mean, that was a really big one. But of course, the flip side to all this crazy stuff was how amazingly insightful he could be, and how very caring this guy was. He fucking loved
give you
everybody.
the shirt off his back, mate.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. And then he'd snag the shirt off the guy next to him to give it to you if you needed it. I mean, he. How was he? Did you go through your entire AFF course with Stanley? Will?
I did. You know, and it's funny. I was thinking about this. Like, you know, there's this thing that you say about like women falling in love with their first jump instructors, you know what I mean? And so like, in a way, like having done all my student stuff with him, in a way, like I fell in love with him, you know, as a friend. Sure. And had that admiration and that respect for him. And of course he was amazing. I mean, talking to Rob Stanley was like the closest thing to talking to and actively, you know, running dictionary, you know, a computer that has this huge catalog of knowledge, and it fires it out so fast. And so there's just so much knowledge and information just spewing out of him. And like, you only could catch as much as you could catch, you know, and so he not only was he so knowledgeable and shared so much and had so much experience, but he also really cared. You know, he cared about what he was doing, and he cared about people learning, you know, and
sure.
I feel lucky to have hung around him, not just for like my student stuff, but for getting into base jumping too. You know, I remember when I was starting base jumping, he loaned me his rig, you know, and I remember a couple people being like, oh, Stanley's lucky. He can't teach you to be lucky and all that, which is totally true. But I was lucky too. So whatever.
Right.
I also, you know, I remember when I was starting base jumping, him telling me about jumping off Angel Falls with like a VCR recorder strapped to his chest in like the 80s, like the very, very first cameras ever jumped off Angel Falls. You know, I was in diapers, you know, and he was running Angel Falls, you know, and that's the amount of knowledge that he brought to what I was doing. And speaking of base jumping and Rob Stanley, you know, there's this really special thing that me and Stanley and Selwyn shared. Which is that we got arrested. We got arrested for jumping off of the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And for me, what is so special about this is that like when we did it, Donald Trump was just an asshole, you know? And now he's the biggest asshole in the whole world, you know. Like so now I've gone to this situation where like I actually got arrested for jumping off the roof of the president's building, and I feel just such pride in my heart that I shared that with Rob Stanley. You know, we all got thrown up over the hoods of cars.
Especially considering he was an illegal Canadian at the time.
Dude, he was always getting in trouble with the law.
Oh my God.
in sort of consequentially, you know.
Yeah.
He told me about this one time he disappeared for the summer and he went over to the West Coast. He's driving over there somewhere, and I think he got pulled over in like Dakota, or it was somewhere out that way. And the cop says to him, "You got any guns or drugs, boy?" You know, kind of thing. Yeah, and he's like, sure, what do you want? You know, next thing you know, he's dragged out the car. He's got a boot in the side of his neck, and he's locked up for like 6 days.
Oh my God, yes. And Stanley had no filters in regard to that, though. He would think that was funny and go, "All right, I need to say this clearly."
Yeah. And then have a bit of weed in the car and get nicked.
That's fucking great. Oh my God.
He did have. We got arrested on the Taj Mahal. He did have weed on him, and he he felt really bad about that. But actually, it worked out okay because they let us plea bargain down to like whatever, and they just thought we were smoking weed in the stairwell. They didn't know that we were jumping off the roof, so it actually kind of worked out good. He felt really bad about it, but it's okay.
So, Will, was that the time? Nothing to do with Johnny Anderson. There was that the time you drove off, and the guy was trying to reach into his car and grab the keys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I remember the guy's arm, like this guy's in the car, and Rob Stanley being like meep, meep, and like jamming. It was a stick. I remember him jamming it into gear and just dumping the clutch. And we got out of the parking lot, but they like chased us down in cars, and it was like a car chase in Atlantic City.
Yeah, you're not getting very far there.
Yeah,
that's proper fucking funny right there.
Oh man, we got pulled out of the car, thrown on the street, guns in our faces, like we were crack dealers. It was awesome.
Oh man, there's a lot of people listening that think you're just as crazy as he was, man. That's awesome. Well, now, all right, so something else I've always wanted to know about Stanley, he was so fucking amazing with the opposite sex.
Dude, how'd he do that?
Oh my God. I mean, Stanley was a good looking guy, and he had the hair. I'd kill for his fucking...
He had Stanley fairy dust that he'd sprinkle on them.
Right, but I don't know how he would do it, because he would play such the innocent, nice guy where I never saw him make a move. He just had a new girl.
Dude, he was a horny devil.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Although... there was more than once I heard slightly later in his life that like he needs to slow down with the women just a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, that was hey.
Oh my God, he used it for all it was worth, especially back in the Cross Keys days. My God, that man had some talent there. Like,
he always had, like, for as long as I knew Stanley, for as old as he got, he always had a girlfriend that was 23.
Oh yeah. I can't. There was one girl that came out to the drop zone at Cross Keys, and this would have been 2004, and I overheard her at some point during her weekend at the drop zone saying, "I just want to fuck a skydiver." And then next thing you know, she was hip to hip with Stanley for quite some time, I think.
Dude, I remember one time he's telling me got down off a tandem, and this girl took him into the back of the woods, and this was at Cross Keys, and gave him a blowjob.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting there with my gob wide open going, dude.
There was some.
How'd you do that?
Some
That's
talent,
amazing.
Some talent and some skill was working at Cross Keys back in those days for sure. Oh my God! All right,
I was a student.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Now we know Stanley had a number of near-death experiences. One of them was that base jump in Thailand. What were the others? There was a plane crash, and
he had several plane crashes. I don't really know the details of them. I know they were in smaller airplanes.
The one that I had heard of in that was I think the story when it was either a 182 or a 206. He was shooting video, so he was sitting on his butt next to the pilot, facing the tail, and for whatever reason the plane goes down. They ditched this plane and hit hard enough that the engine literally snapped its mounts and shot out of the cowling, and Stanley slid into the engine compartment, and they actually had to open the cowling to get him out.
Meh, only me.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? You get to the crash site of a 182, the engine is 100 meters away smoldering, and you open the cowling, man. And there's a little Stanley just sitting in there with his camera.
We were sitting there. When I first got there, we were sitting there at the end of a busy Saturday, and it was the last load of the day, and in comes Stanley. And mate, I'm looking at that photograph there, and I can see him where exactly, the building, between the building
right
and
there.
The trees of the woods was the alleyway.
Yep.
So he comes over the top of the building, he hooks turns, he comes flying down through that alleyway between the trees and the building.
Yep.
Yeah. And he catches the outboard cell of the parachute on a tree. And I kid you not, he missed us all by a couple of... The canopy completely helicoptered behind him. He went flop and ended underneath this dude's van. So he did. I thought he was dead. Yeah. We all thought he was dead. So he did. He stands up, he brushes himself off. Meep, meep. That was close.
Exactly.
Oh, what the fuck, bro?
I mean,
now I know
plane crashes and Stanley. I remember one time sitting in a plane with him, and some, I don't remember who it was some kid with like a camera helmet. What the camera helmet was neither on his head nor was it secured. And Rob Stanley was like, "Can you strap that in for me or whatever nicely?" And the kid was like, "Why?" And Rob Stanley was like, "Well, quite frankly, I'm tired of people's camera helmets hitting me in the face when the plane crashes."
That's awesome.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, I love just the fact that you can so easily put, speaking of plane crashes and Rob Stanley, because it's just such a common fucking thing. I mean, my Lord. Well, am I not? I may be mistaken again, but both his brothers have passed, yeah?
Yeah.
And one was in a plane crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one in a plane crash, one earlier, and now Rob Stanley. His poor mother.
Yeah. God rest her soul. She's gone as well.
Oh.
Yeah, so she didn't live long enough to see Rob pass, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially considered it was aviation. And before we get back onto fun and happy stories, what happened
with
Rob? How'd he
Rob?
go? Yeah, because there's a
From
lot of
what I
people.
understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't know what happened.
The report was this: they started the day off jumping. They did their first load. The conditions weren't good. Apparently, this drop zone that he was working at, there are a set of hills that are off to, let's just say for the sake of it, but I think it was the west.
Okay.
When the wind comes from that direction, it's pretty turbulent. So they did the first load. A girl was doing video, and she had issues with her parachute coming into land, as did the tandems as well, just very bumpy and whatnot else. But the girl did have an issue with her parachute. Anyway, Rob was the safety guy for the day. The senior person on the drop zone on any given day is, the CFI, the chief instructor, whatever it's going to you call it. So a wee while later on in the day, they decided to go again. And the girl turned around and said, "I'm not going." So Rob volunteered to go and do the video.
Okay.
And have somebody else do the tandem. And when he came into land, he did a hook turn, and the turbulence turned the parachute, tucked it under, did whatever, it collapsed on one side. So obviously when it does that, if you've ever seen that kind of thing going on, it just helicoptered above his head and it threw him straight into the ground, mate.
Sure. Well, he was flying a very high performance canopy.
Yeah, little handkerchief,
Did you ever, if someone had sat me down at any point after meeting him and asked me, how do you think he's eventually going to go? A canopy collapse would have been one of the last fucking things I would have come up with.
Yeah, me neither, mate. It was wicked.
I mean, jumping VCRs off of Angel Falls and crazy base jumps and all the, my goodness gracious. I would have bet nitrous would have caught him before a canopy collapsed.
Like that dude from Mirage.
Right?
I forget what his name was.
Oh, man.
He passed away from doing too much nitrous. Apparently they found him with a big thing. A bin liner over his head or something.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man. So where did the Meep Meep come from? And there was an online debate. Is it Beep Beep or Meep Meep? And everybody says it's both.
It depended. Yeah, because it was. It was normally meh, meh, meh.
Where did it start?
Oh, fuck knows.
Will, do you know?
Where did it start? God, I don't know. It was already going before I came across it. It was just always there. It was Meep Meep. That's like, where did his curly hair come from? I don't know.
Right. I think somebody told me the sideways story that I heard, I think it was Kim Worthington that told me it was something along the lines of he was always in a rush to get on the plane, and so he would beep beep to get past you in the loading area. So he's beep beep to try and get past you. Well, but it fit him so fucking well because it just always, every time he did it, brought to mind the Roadrunner, and there's no character ever that fits Rob Stanley better than the Roadrunner, just going so fucking fast. I can't ever actually picture him laying down to go to sleep.
Oh, he did.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I lived with him like 1, 2, 3. I think I lived with him like 4 times.
Oh.
Yeah, when he chilled properly.
You have an amazing story.
4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. 4 times.
You have an amazing story of when he came to spend time with you at your place in Florida.
Right, yeah.
You got to tell this story.
Oh, my goodness me. Okay, so Rob says, I'll be down next week, coming down for the winter vacation. Well, this is classic, mate. And So he rocks up, hey, how's it going? All the rest of it, and he's there. He goes, I can't wait to sun my ass, and me, I'm like, no. Don't be sunning your ass nowhere, mate. So don't. I was like, next door, there's some good Christian boys and girls next door with a bunch of guns. And on the opposite side of the house, there's another set of slightly religious fanatics as well who wouldn't appreciate seeing your ass. And I kid you not, I sat down at my computer. This is first thing in the morning. He's outside. So he is. I don't even notice I'm fired away. I get up to make a cup of tea. This is about 15 minutes later. I get up to put the kettle on. I look over, and as sure as shit, Rob's lying there on the sun lounger with his dressing gown off, cock and balls hanging out. So I'm like, Stanley! I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, what? And yeah. I'm like, mate, we just had this conversation. He's like, oh, I thought you were joking. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not joking.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, my God.
Yeah, cock and balls hanging out, mate, right there. It was. Well, it's indelibly imprinted. So
I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, I have no doubt. Yeah, there's
erased.
Yeah. No, you're not going to get rid of that.
No.
Well, go ahead.
He liked being naked, mate.
Yeah.
He was always wandering around the house, fucking, with his tackle out. I'm like, what the fuck's up with you, bro?
Yeah. The guy was such a fucking character. Well, now I know I asked both of you guys to kind of jot down or come up with a couple of stories. I don't want to keep changing the subject on you, so you tell me. What do you guys got? Different things about Stanley, or different things you want told or people to know?
What I'd like people to know about Rob Stanley, unless you got something, Will, you want to go with right now?
I'll listen to you, Norman, and then I'll see it. Yeah.
Was space, telescopes, the stars. Me and him, but we would go and wig out on it. That's another thing that we just got on really well about. But anytime he came down to Florida, we were straight up to the Kennedy Space Center, especially
Really?
If there was rockets launching.
Really?
Oh yeah, every time.
Why did I know that about him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
big time on the stars, big time on the constellations. So I bought this telescope. I bought what's it called? A Schmidt-Cassegrain, I think it's called, by a company called Celestron. And I showed him this telescope. Fucking 2-3 weeks later, he's got one.
Really?
Bigger, better. He's like, holy shit, this is incredible.
That's
So
awesome.
we go out and stare at the stars, mate, But space was a big thing, and always looking up, mate.
Wow.
Which is a quality you don't find in too many people nowadays, because they're all glued to their feet and their phones. And,
Yeah. He was a very curious soul, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He wanted to know everything about everything if he could.
Yeah.
Wow. How about you, Will?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, it's like a loaded question. It's so hard to explain. It's like, what's the best story in the library? I mean, how do you even answer that? And like, it's also it's easy to talk about funny stories about Stanley and him being crazy, but like, I think for me, he was just such a special person, and anything that he did that was crazy or hilarious or whatever was secondary to the depth that he had inside of him. And so for me, for people who didn't know him, like, I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, not only is he an absolute part of not just American but international skydiving history. Everything. I mean, when I did my AAFF rating course to become an AFF instructor, they literally showed Glenn Banks, who was doing the course at the time, showed the infamous video of Stanley with the 747 flying under him on an AFF jump. Yeah. I mean, and they literally showed that, like, as a part of my training. They're like, look at this instructor here. Like, look how he stays calm. I'm like, that's fucking Rob. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And like, so from everything from like, starting when he started being a part of the sport for so long, having had contact with so many people who went on to do such great, stuff in our sport,
Sure.
He was not only just stitched into the fabric of skydiving, but he also had a way of stitching himself into the fabric of everyone that he touched, and so there's some really big funny stories about him, but most of my interaction interactions with Stanley are things that don't really communicate super well in like retelling, because it's like he'll drive by you and he'll drop like 5 words on you, and you'll spend 3 days thinking like holy shit, why didn't I ever think of that? You know, like just the 5 words that he dropped as he ran past.
Or you'd be thinking, what the fuck did he say?
Right. Well, as a quick side note to what you were just saying, the infamous video of him with the jet flying under, I probably 6 months before he died, I sent that to, the Aussie Man Reviews.
Perfect. I do remember.
So I sent that to Aussie Man Reviews online, and he actually put it on his Destination Fucked reel.
Yes, he did.
And it was so funny because all of a sudden Rob Stanley took a very international stage. And it was funny when I told him, I'm like, hey, by the way, I got a message from Aussie Man. He's going to use that video. He was so blasé about it. He's all, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah,
he thought nothing of it. And most people would be like, holy shit, this is, millions of people are going to watch this. And Rob couldn't give a fuck less.
No.
Yeah, it's old news.
He didn't care about that sort of stuff, did he, mate? He just enjoyed every day and meeting people, mate. It's like in the morning when I wake up, I walk outside. I do it. I've got my Stanleyisms, man. They are hardwired into me. I'm like, hello, world. And that's Stanley. That's fucking Stanley. Hello, world.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
In the morning when I was living with him, I meet him and Range Luda were living together in New Jersey. I was getting a divorce at the time. I was drinking like a fish. It was a crazy time. But this fucking Stanley.
How many times have you said that? Fucking Stanley.
Constantly. The sun would be coming in through the window, mate. He'd go and pull out every fucking crystal, every prism, every fucking piece of glass that he had and put it up in the window and have these rainbows popping off in the room. And then he would go and scramble his eggs and have his cereal and his yogurt and, like clockwork, mate. This was his breakfast. But if there was sun coming in that window, he had all these, he had like a pyramid made out of glass, he had, like I say, prisms, just anything to refract glass,
right.
And create a rainbow. He had a bunch of these things, man. And he would, some of them would hang, some of them would sit, but he would always find somewhere to put them as soon as the sun would come out.
Sure.
Yeah, boom, he'd have that down there. And there would be these rainbows around the room on the walls.
That's awesome. Well, and it's funny too that because
it's a really great Stanley.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hello World isn't it? That sums him up perfectly in 2
every
words.
Morning I say it. Like I say, as long as I live and breathe, Stanley ain't dead, mate.
Yeah, no, I think that's with a lot of people. And I think at the beginning you said it right, Will. We all have such different perspectives and the same perspective as well, but we all kind of started from different times. For me, the Stanley I knew was a very thoughtful guy, but always little off his rocker, which kept it so fucking entertaining. And in fact, you and I had an experience with him as he started working with us together when we were overseas.
Yep.
And he miscalculated the culture, shall we say, a little bit. Yeah, and didn't. And Will, I don't know if you know this story, so I'll let Norman tell it. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Which one?
How he ended up coming to work with us and leaving.
Oh, I see. Oh, no, that wasn't even the culture. That was a complete misjudgment on his part.
Yeah.
So he'd let his ratings lapse, and he'd let his medical lapse, and he'd come back to work, and they were like, all right, he's like, I need to go and get my medical and ratings sorted out and whatnot else. So he goes to this place and gets his medical, except he asks for the wrong kind of medical. He doesn't specify, I need this. Well, he's been away for the summer, and, Mr. Stanley liked to party a little bit.
Yeah.
And they checked him for all sorts of, exotic substances.
Yes.
Yeah, would be the right thing. Well, so he disappears off to get his medical. We're doing water training that morning. It was a Saturday morning. He disappears off to get his medical. 3 hours later, he comes back. I'm like, how'd you go? I was living with him at the time. And he goes, not so well. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. What do you mean not so well? And he's like, I tested positive on this, exotic substance thing. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. Here, in this place. How the fuck do you do that? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, show me the fucking paperwork, bro. Well, he only goes and gets, like the most intensive medical that you can possibly get. It's like a class 1. Class 1.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Instead of a la-di-da one, which you need for doing, what us chaps get up to. Irrespective of that, anyway, considering the part of the world he was in at the time, it wasn't a good place to be. And panic stations set in, so they did. I don't know, mate. The truth of the story is this. Okay, I shit myself. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. Really? Okay, I'm living with a guy. I'm like, I'm guilty by association, and I know that I'm gonna have these people banging on my door any moment. Right. So I ran off, started investigating. What's the process that goes on here? There's a 76-page PDF all about what goes on with exotic substances,
right,
and flight medicals. Yeah. Trust me. I know it word for word because I read it and understood it and was like, okay, all right, I got this. This is the process. I'm like, you're going to have to leave. And, a couple of days later, they sent off his urine and whatnot else. And I feel like I'm throwing him under the bus. But, hey, you know what, dude? I love you, man.
Yeah, it's kind of... And it was funny because all I knew what was going on was Stanley's leaving. What?
Yeah.
Stanley's leaving. Stanley's leaving now.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to say goodbye.
The reporting process is that, once it goes off and they do a spectro analysis of it or whatever they call it, it comes back with a result, and then it gets reported to your employer, to the authorities. Yeah.
Sure.
The employer says, "Oh, no worries at all," and Stanley's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and we're both like, "No worries at all." That doesn't sound good.
No.
He's like, "I'm fucking bailing."
Yep.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
No. Well, that was the thing with him, though, right? I mean, he would be so clueless, and then snap to and go, "Oh, this is the reality of the situation. Yeah. I need to take it seriously."
Yeah.
Well, it was the same with the story when he was coming to work with us overseas, and he lost his fucking passport in the Boston airport.
Philly.
Was it Philly?
It must have been because
He was
on his way from Philly to Boston.
Yeah, he was in Boston. I remember for sure. He flew from Philly to Boston, had a long layover in Boston, and the next thing I know, I'm at the airport overseas waiting to pick him up when I get the message, oops, lost my passport in Boston, not sure where it is, got to get a replacement. Meantime, he's illegal. Because he's not a U.S. citizen. He's been in the U.S. for how many fucking years, and he's lost his Canadian passport is gone. Right. And he was still trying to get overseas, and his job hinged on him being where he was supposed to be at the right time. And at the right time he was in Boston, and I was at the airport on the other end of the flight. He
was pissed.
Oh, yeah.
He was always pissed with himself when shit like that would go on, which would happen, with regularity, but, over longer periods of time.
Oh my Lord,
God bless him.
But he always seemed to get through. He was a slippery bastard. For somebody who was committing as illegal activities as him and getting kind of caught for them, he never got caught. He always just had a way of sort of disappearing before anything happened.
Right.
I mean, chapeau, really. I tip my hat to him for that. Does either of you guys know the story about him? Was either of you guys there that New Year's Eve at Skydive Arizona where he got kicked out of Skydive Arizona for life?
No. Oh my God! Please enlighten us.
Remind me now.
Was he there? No.
No, neither of us were there.
Nah.
Oh, okay. You got to tell us this one.
I wasn't there, so I don't know. It doesn't seem like I only heard him retell it, which was there was a DC-3 load and. He's like an old timer. So there's the jump door in the back and there's the door above the wing too. And he was I don't know if he was wearing a rig or not. He may have just been why would he not be wearing a rig? He might have been he was I'm going to open the door above the wing to take pictures of people getting out as they go up for a midnight load at this on New Year's Eve at Skydive Arizona. And anyway, so he opened up the door and he's hanging halfway out taking pictures, and somebody grabbed him, and I guess they thought he was trying to kill himself. And he was just trying to take pictures. So anyway, they pulled him back in the plane. They landed the plane and made a big deal of it. Kicked up. Rob Stanley's kicked off Skydive Arizona for life. He was so pissed off. I remember looking at him. I was like, Rob Stanley, you know what, man? Anywhere where you're not welcome, I'm never going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A little maligned and misunderstood sometimes was our Rob.
Yeah.
So he was.
Yeah, well, I think that was the thing, is he was so playful and so outgoing.
Exactly.
He'd be taken the wrong way, and people thought that because of his demeanor, sometimes you didn't know if you were being made fun of or puppeted or have him playing games, and it was very difficult to tell.
There was something. I think sometimes people who didn't know him would think he's really something wrong with him or something. If you didn't take the time to just listen to him, people might think, "Oh God, this is really no." You know what I mean? And so I think that's what happened there. They got pissed at him, and he was like, "No, I'm just taking pictures." And they were like, "Oh," and they didn't really give him the time to explain, and he was just going through life. He was so pissed.
Well, again, that's those Stanley filters that you only got when you built up a little, immunity to it, and you could start to understand what he actually meant as opposed to what he actually said.
Yeah, well, you have to be a tolerant individual, don't you? And I, throughout the time that I knew Rob, 20 odd years, I saw a lot of people, who would meet him and they would kind of raise their eyebrows and be like, "Oh yeah, fucking, what's the matter with this autistic kid?"
Oh,
Well, that honest to God, that's the way they kind of looked at Robbie, because they wouldn't just take the time to, and for me, sometimes I had to say to Rob, "Slow the fuck down, dude."
Stop
I was
being
like,
you.
Say that again, just slow down a bit though, mate, because you were saying, his head would run faster than his mouth could
possibly
throw
keep
it
up
out
with.
there.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and it was funny. You and I had both. Actually, a number of people had recommended him for a specific position, and he got there to take on the position, and a number of people were like, "This is the guy you spoke so highly about?
Yeah,
really?" And then, of course, most of them got to know him and go, "Oh, we get it now. Okay, we understand." Yeah. But it took a little while.
I know. There's a few now still. Meh.
Exactly. Yeah.
Meh, meh. And you've managed to pass it on to a few of these nutters.
Oh, yeah. Well, and there's people all around the world that are doing that. I mean, did you guys, you're both on Facebook, did you guys see his fucking wall blow up after the news got out that he had passed?
Yeah, kind of. I didn't really look at it, mate.
I scrolled down to it just because I wanted to. I was really curious to see if the impact that I thought he had made was as big as I assumed it was, and I gave up halfway down his wall. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. People are writing novels on his wall about the amazing effect he had on their lives.
Yeah, well, he did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Incredibly so.
That's right.
Incredibly so.
That's right.
And I think I knew, out of the three of us, I knew him the least, and he still, I will never forget a second with Rob Stanley. I mean, holy shit.
Amazing.
I mean, like I said, we've taken the time to dedicate an entire broadcast just to talking shit about Rob Stanley.
What I like the best about his Facebook page?
What's that?
Yeah, his photographs are always out of focus.
Always out of focus and always with a girl.
Always fucking out of focus, bro. Now, I'm like,
Yep.
And I just write oof underneath. Yeah. And he'd come back to me and be like, "Oh, really? Think so?" I'm like, "Come on, mate."
It was he'd either put an out of focus scenery shot or wildlife shot, and then every other picture was with him with a girl.
Oh yeah.
Every single one.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
He liked the ladies, mate.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And he clubbed them like a seal as well. No, he did. Absolutely, 100%. Shit, he lived in a room next door to me at Range Luda's house.
Oh, no.
Dear God.
Oh, no. Yeah.
It was noisy.
I won't mention the name of my roommate at the same time, and but they nicknamed our house Squeaky Springs.
Squeaky Springs.
And
I remember it well.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. What an awesome place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
His PlayStation, he used to love his games as well, big time, man. Oh, my God, he had this one space game, and The Devil May Cry and something else was his favourite games. But what amazed me.
Oh, my God. I remember I used to, for when I was at Krusty's for a while, I had Halo and an Xbox going in my trailer. And periodically, between loads, I would be running back there to grab a snack or something. And I would just come across him crawling into or out of my trailer, trying to get 15 minutes of video games between loads. You know what I mean?
Dude, he had the most epic setup in his bedroom at one point, where he had the projector at the end of the bed pointing up to the roof above him, and he would lie in his bed and play the games for hours.
Oh no!
Sorry, we're just
with the
looking
screen
up
on
at
the ceiling. Oh my lord!
Yeah.
But to be able to do something like that, and then to turn around and this is a guy that would do. On the weekends we were doing 25 odd tandems or video a day, instructor, and if you were lucky, you'd have one load that you were down.
Yeah.
Now, most people would run to the restaurant and shove food in their face or go take a shit or whatever they had to do. Stanley would grab his fucking sport rig and go do a free fly jump.
Boom.
In between it every time. I think pretty much on the weekends, he would be on every single load every day.
Did you ever see Robbie's logbooks?
No.
Didn't you?
No.
His logbooks were a thing to be absolutely admired.
Amazing.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely.
Especially when he first started it, he would draw and draw and draw and draw. and he would just draw, dude.
Right.
He could tell you exactly how many free fly jumps he'd done, camera jumps, four-way jumps, crew jumps.
Sure.
Every single skydive he ever did, he sat and wrote it down.
Do we know who's got an idea how many jumps he had total?
Oh, he was up over 20.
Yeah, I would think.
So
close to 30.
I thought I saw 25 at some point on his, but maybe it wasn't 25.
No,
maybe it was 23,
he was around
24.
he was around the 20s odd.
Yeah, not long before he died, I saw something like 20, 22, 23. I remember thinking, that's a lot, bro.
He got me into this thing at one point where I'd get all the students to sign the logbook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome, man.
Oh, yeah.
I've got one particular logbook, which is just complete signatures from fucking tossing drogues.
Yep. Yeah, I used to do that as well, and I think I may have picked it up from Stanley as well, but of course Stanley did it because half of the time it was getting him dates.
Yeah. Well, dude, his first couple of logbooks, and even still, so I'm just looking over there at yours, and it just reminded me.
Yeah.
Mate, they're works of art.
Oh, yeah.
So they are. Yeah, you flip them open, and he was happy to show you them as well, but he would draw.
Oh, that's incredible.
And not just about the skydive. He just the books were works of art.
Wow.
His login was meticulous, absolutely meticulous.
What have you guys ever gone through your old logbooks? Because they're fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
To go back through the beginning ones, and all of a sudden it snaps back that memory of this particular jump or that situation, and it's amazing. So I'm not surprised that Stanley would take it to another level.
Yeah, no, absolutely meticulous, dude. I always kept my first logbook whenever I do AFF at places, which, in my current position, that's not a thing. Because it took me 25 jumps to do AFF. So that's why I keep that around.
Right.
Yeah, because I was such a clusterfuck that I'd be like, when people are, flailing and doubting themselves, I'm like, it's not a case of pass or fail, mate. It's, you're going to learn at your own speed.
Sure.
And I'm like, look at this shit. There's level 5 9 times.
Oh, man.
You got
awesome.
I tell you what, he, especially in stuff like that, he rubbed off on people so much in that regard. But I've never seen anybody come close to his energy level to this day.
No?
Never. I mean, that man.
Nah, man. There's no other Stanley out there. Like his energy, his presence, and kind of like what Norman said, like, you come across people every now and then and you'd be talking about how awesome Stanley is, and they would be like, what are you talking about? That guy's fucking weird. And I would just kind of look at them and be like, oh, okay. Like, I see that you lack like patience and like the ability to listen and like the ability to like look at something or someone for a little bit more than what you see on the surface. Like it's like a lie detector. Like if you don't like Rob Stanley, I don't like you. You know what I mean?
He was truth in that.
He was the Rorschach test of fucking skydiving. Depending on how you interpret this painting is what we're going to think of you.
Yeah.
No, that's very, very true. Well, all right. So we're hitting the hour mark. So I want to take the time to have you guys explain that to somebody. So somebody's looking at this Rorschach test, and it's Stanley, and they don't know what to fucking think. Who was Rob Stanley to Norman? To you, who was Rob Stanley?
Stanley.
Yeah.
Is a magician, mate. Stanley was a magician.
Yeah.
Because he had the ability to wonder people and confuse the fuck out of people and have people walking away, shaking their head, going, what the fuck did I just experience? And then, of course, wow people. you know.
Yeah.
And like Will mentioned earlier on, you know, Rob would give you, and you as well, he'd give you the shirt off your back.
Oh, yeah.
He was my friend, mate.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm grateful for the time that life has allowed me to spend with Rob Stanley, for sure.
Indeed.
You know,
Indeed.
and like you were saying, there is a litmus test as well.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I see how people treat Rob or react to Rob, and that gives me an idea of the character of the person.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Because most people wouldn't think of that, but it's very, very true.
Oh, it's telling, man.
And I'm sure you guys had that first experience where you met someone who knew Rob and had a negative impression of him and told you, your feeling towards them instantly changed.
Yeah.
Certainly did for me. The first time I had someone voice a negative opinion of Rob Stanley, I instantly was like, what? That's, I mean, it was one of those key markers. It's like saying you don't believe in legalizing marijuana or gay marriage or this or that. Those are all buzzwords for fuck off. I don't like Rob Stanley. Yeah, fuck off. Right? I mean,
then I don't like you.
Yeah.
As Will so nicely put it.
Yeah. All right. So, Will, who was Mr. Rob Stanley to you? Tough one.
Yeah, that's a great question. I like what Mark said. I think I'll start with how Mark ended, which is like he was my friend, first of all, you know. And but I think Rob Stanley was a truly unique voice, you know, and he was somebody that I don't think there are many people out there like that anymore. He was so special, so deep, so caring, and so intelligent, you know. And yeah, I just feel so grateful to have had the relationship that I had with him as a friend, you know, and as him being my mentor, and then going on to become to a place where he respected me as an equal. It was so special, you know. And yeah, I think the world is different now than it was even 10 years ago when we were skydiving, and certainly when he started skydiving. But he kind of kept that like authentic focus on real, genuine contact with the people around him in a way that we kind of don't have today in this sort of electronic age. And it was a really, really special thing. I'm glad that he was a part of my life. And I mean, you guys know, like we all have been around this. I don't show much. Again, this year was amazing. I actually now would like to maybe get over to where you guys are and get my knees in the breeze sometime.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other story. But you know how it is. Like we've all been through so many times this thing of people dying, right? We've all put people in the ground, left, right, and center. You know, when I heard that Rob Stanley, my brother sent me a text because he knew how close I was with Rob. When I heard that Rob died, I was walking out from work here in a big sports center where I teach a yoga class, and I got this text from my brother, and he said, "Hey, I want to tell you, before anybody else does that Rob died."
Yeah,
and I mean, it was like somebody ran up from behind me with a baseball bat. I'm telling you, my knees went out from under me. I sat in the middle of this parking lot like an asshole, and just it was like somebody just beat the hell out of me. And it's not my first rodeo. Like I've put people on the ground before, but when it was Rob, that was a big difference. That was somebody who, you know, it was like you just don't expect that.
No, I didn't believe it.
And I don't know if that answers the question at all, but like
it does.
He was in there.
It does.
Yeah, in your heart in this special way, you know?
My overall and undying impression of Stanley is he completely lacked the ability to get burnt out. He was still just as in love with the sport and its community the day that he died that he was the day that I met him, and long before I ever met him, which I've never seen from anybody else. And that's the biggest thing I've taken away is I've never seen a sustained level of passion for something. Oh my God.
He was gagging for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Bro. I mean, he
100%.
It was skydiving and base jumping in its community 100%. And it was unexplainable.
it was also kind of life. That was the way that he lived, like,
Sure.
Yeah.
like if he was interested in something, he went at it, like that's why when you ask him about the stars, he could talk to you all night about the stars until there were no more stars in the sky, and then he could tell you what was behind the clouds that you just couldn't see because we're on the wrong part of the planet. Like, because when he
That
was
was how
passionate
he-
about something,
Oh yeah,
he couldn't.
That was
put
how he
down.
got
went
laid
at
so
it.
much, dude. That was how he got laid so much, bro, for sure. He just he talked the knickers off him.
Well, and he played this innocent act. Oh, this fucking guy. Because you'd watch him doing it. You'd watch him start chatting a chick up and being as mellow and as, just a sweetheart and clearly not making a move that was absolutely going to get him laid.
Perfect.
I watched it more times than I could count, and the girls would just be talking to him. I'm like, they have no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
They have it's like a Venus flytrap. You don't know you're in there, and then you're just there.
Yep.
Oh, the guy was incredible with that. But yeah, the other thing too is a lot of people and the people that would think he was weird were also the same people that didn't take the time to see that level of intelligence and that level of passion and that level of interest that he would have. They would just see the Meep Meep and the guy going 150 miles an hour and not bother to go any further because they figured, it was the Rain Man of skydiving.
That's because they're shallow, mate.
Yeah.
It's like that old saying goes, I am not what you think I am. You are what you think I am. Yeah, and that was when people were like, I'm not sure about.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be like, well, that's you, mate. That's not him.
So both you guys, give me for everybody that's listening, those that either knew Stanley or obviously will never get the chance to meet Stanley, give them your top Stanley lesson, your top Stanley advice that Stanley would give to a new jumper coming up in the sport, or an old fuck like us that's wondering if he should continue jumping. I don't want your advice. I want Stanley's advice to a new jumper and Stanley's advice to somebody thinking, should I quit or should I keep going?
Well, off you go.
Yeah, Will, that's all you. Give me Stanley's advice.
All right, I'm just thinking about that first. Okay, so I remember a few. I mean, I think it's hard to put it exactly in his words, but I think from what his essence communicated to me, it was like somebody that had been through had seen and been through so many accidents. I remember him saying two things to me that everybody says, right? But I remember hearing them from Rob, and when it comes from somebody who has, witnessed several raps and been in several raps, when somebody says, keep your head on a swivel, that really means something. And I remember him saying that to me. And I also remember him saying, it's not, the skydive's never over until you're in the hang, or, like, just keep an eye on people like landing, like even though you've landed, some idiot can still crash into you. Like really simple, basic safety stuff. Put on your seatbelt, because Rob said it, he meant it because he was in 4 plane crashes, or because he had been in several raps, or because he had seen so many things, so that's like that basic, what do you say to like a new person, just getting, because I said, have fun,
Yeah.
And somebody who I honestly think if Rob Stanley was talking to somebody who was considering quitting, I think he would look at that person and be like, I just don't understand how to answer that question, because he loved it so much and was so passionate about it. I don't think he could have that communication. He'd be like, what do you mean? Like, get your rig, go have a jump. It's awesome. Like,
You're thinking about quitting jumping? No, the sun's still up.
It is.
Right?
yeah,
Exactly. How about you?
Stanley was all about learning, mate. So he was, and his curiosity, and that was his thing. Just learning. Never stop learning.
Yeah.
Never stop learning. Never think you've got it, because you ain't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, lifelong learner.
I remember on a fun jump over across Keys. Remember the guy that we nicknamed Beaker? In Cross Keys, I think it was 2004. Real tall guy. I think he was from Sweden, but we nicknamed him Beaker from the Muppets because he looked like him and acted like him. Anyway, we were on a fun jump, I think, for his birthday, and it was a free fly jump, sit fly jump. So we were all head up, and when it was time for break off, I bellied out. And we landed and we're all walking back in, and Stanley comes up and puts his hand on my shoulder, nice and politely, like Stanley would do it. Hey, you don't, you gotta make sure you track away and don't do this and that. And he walked away, and he was super lighthearted about it, but I was devastated.
yeah.
Because Stanley was like, you fucked up, dude. And it was like, oh no, I upset Stanley. It was crushing. But it was also a lesson I never forgot again.
Yeah.
Never. I corked on that jump and did it intentionally. Just wasn't thinking. Just lost my head on that one. And he made the correction in the politest possible way. But I remember thinking that I had disappointed Stanley, and that was terrible.
Boo.
Right?
Boo. Yeah, I did that once or twice.
Yeah.
It's not a good feeling.
No. Because he's the guy that usually is getting chastised for doing something slightly silly, but never on a jump, man. That guy. You guys will all remember this one. It was Cameron's father was in town to make a jump while Cameron was in the hospital. You'll remember this. And somehow, and I don't know how, and without giving too much backstory, Cameron was in the hospital with a broken neck and couldn't move from the neck down at the time. And Cameron's father had come all the way over from Australia and was, visiting his son in the ICU at the time, maybe 2 days out of a ridiculous surgery.
His halo.
Yeah, with his halo and not necessarily great outlook on the entire situation. And somehow we talked him into doing a tandem. So he goes out to do a tandem with Mr. Rob Stanley. Now, most tandem instructors, especially with an emotionally vulnerable middle-aged man at that time, might just want a mellow jump in a video or something. No. Stanley gets everybody routed together and turns it into the most insane zoo dive tandem I've ever seen in my life. And I only know this because I fucking filmed it.
Yeah.
You remember this? We launched it out the door with Steven Jackson hanging off the chest strap. Will, you and Selwyn were on your heads chasing everything. They ended up with a totem pole hanging off the chest strap of Cameron's father, who was strapped to Stanley at the time, and it was Rob Stanley, his dad, Steven Jackson, Kim Worthington, Danny Kuhn, and at least 2 more people in the most ridiculous, out of control totem through the fucking clouds over Cross Keys. with Stanley grinning ear to ear the entire way because he had instigated the whole fucking thing.
Oh yeah,
epic,
amazing,
absolutely.
There's a
epic.
picture of him. You ever seen that picture of him? He's got the premature opening on the strong system. The drogue's still attached. The bag's out. It's bashing on the back of his head, and he's still got a shit-eating grin on his face as he's looking at it.
Yeah. Just swatting it away like a cat.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Well,
What's
the guy, he was as cool, calm, and collected as they would come. So I think that'll probably be one of the most undying images ever for me, is the smile on his face when he saw that jet go under him on the video that everybody and their grandmother has seen. If you didn't know Rob Stanley, that's Rob Stanley. 5 seconds from fucking dead, grinning ear to ear.
Yeah.
So anything else you guys would like to finish off with talking about Mr. Rob Stanley, our good friend?
Do you know what? My face is so smiling, dude.
Yeah.
It's funny because my mum, I was at home at the time when Rob passed away, and my mum knew Rob, and my sister knows Rob, and my family knows Rob.
Yeah.
And they know he's a bit quirky and whatnot else. But my mum was like, because I was just smiling, mate. I was like, well, Rob's passed, man. And my mum's like, aren't you upset? Don't you, And I'm like, right now, no, I'm not in the slightest, I'm like, I get it. We all got this debt to pay at some point in time. I mean, it's unfortunate. I was like, but every time I think of Stanley, and as God is my witness, this is the truth, I end up smiling, mate.
Yeah.
I just smile, man.
I said that to somebody else, and
I'm happy I met him.
Yeah.
I
said that to somebody else, and I put a post on his wall maybe a week after he had died, and the post was something along the lines of, I want to be upset, I want to tear up, but every fucking time I think about Rob Stanley, I just end up laughing. And what an amazing gift to give all of us, right? I mean, because every one of us, just like you said, Will, we've all gone through it, and we've all put way too many people in the ground, and Rob Stanley was probably the most memorable and outstanding of all of them for a lot of people, and yet every single time I think about him, I just end up giggling because I mean, what a gift to give.
That's a gift.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I've been, I as in the last couple of years, I've got into highlining, which is like you either know what that is or you don't, but it's like tightrope walking between mountains, essentially. And when Stanley died, a few days later, I was sitting on a line, 100-meter line in this mountain not long from the house, and it's 100 meters long and it's about 250 meters high. So it's exposed. So you sit up there and you feel like you're just hovering, about to make a base jump, And I was sitting on the line, and there's just this crazy blast of wind from nowhere came sort of running up the cliff, and it was like an upwind, from below my feet up over my head. And it was just days after Stanley had died, and I felt strongly that it was like him saying goodbye, to me personally. And I don't have any doubt that he's still fucking flying around. He's up there in the stars, or he's here in his own special way. And so I think if that's what I have something to say, it's that like I really like what Norman said. As long as I'm alive, so is Stanley, and I'm sure wherever he is, he's like flying around having a blast right now.
Oh, no doubt. Well, and I mean, let's face it, if Stanley was going to say goodbye to you, he would do it in a shocking way while you're 250 meters off the fucking ground. Meep.
Exactly.
Well, guys, with that, I'm gonna say thank you so much to Will and Norman, both of you guys, for coming and shooting the shit about one of the most ridiculously amazing guys this sport is ever going to see. There's never going to be another Stanley. And certainly
Thank
not
God.
in skydiving base jumping.
I mean that in a very positive way.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody will ever be able to replicate that kind of spirit. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to share some of the very personal memories and feelings for it. I mean, there's a lot of people that would not like to hash stuff out, but I think it's really good.
Yeah,
so
bring it on.
Thank you so much, guys.
My face is so smiling.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for having me
We'll
on,
be
man.
for quite a while too. Yeah, as always, man. Take care, you guys. That's it. Another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void, all done. We are brought to you in association with Blue Skies Mag, the greatest magazine in the known universe. Head to blueskiesmag.com where you can get everything from the subscription to the magazine to all kinds of insane swag with more really cool shit coming. Also, put pen to paper. Tell that cool story you've got. If you got anything you want to tell, you've got something informative, you've got something crazy, tell us about it. We want to hear. Also, for the photographers, get those snaps in, man. We want to see the cool pictures as well. For me, I am at thefuckingpilot.net. That's where you can get all the podcasts as well as both the books that I've written, the Blue Skies Magazine Fucking Pilot book and the Accidental Stripper, are both available in digital and print form. Again, thank you so much for this special edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. We'll see you next time around.